Hello everybody, good evening. Welcome back to good old Gelvin Valley. Wonderful map made by Wild Wes. We are on Farming Simulator 15 and we are preparing to take the hill with this heavy baler in tow and a tractor that is a little bit underpowered for these slopes. But what can I say? We will crawl up the hill if need be. I seem to recall I can get it to maybe get up a little speed if I turn off the baler. Good grief. Already a failure. Alright, let's try that again. It's gonna slowly... There we go. I think I can. This is one steep hill. That is for sure. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I'll say it again. I am loving this mod. And you know what? I rented it. I got an hour and 20 minutes left. And I'm afraid if I dilly-dally too much on these hills, I'm going to be renting for additional time. At some point, I'm going to need to come in here and pick up all these bales. I'm kind of wondering whether I should just continue using the same tractor, maybe extend the time. I don't know. Well, now you found your legs. Oh, looks like I bumped over a bit. Yeah, it goes nice, and oh, I'm going to be missing some of it. Don't pay attention to my driving. I'm thinking I have some kind of bale mod on here. I can't recall if the in-game bales are this shade of yellow or not. I'm gonna have to look at the mods. You know, as time goes, and I know I have over 100 episodes on this map, I kind of forget just which particular mods, you know, I may have in my mods folder. I almost wonder if I have one with adding different bale types. Makes me wonder if I should color them a little bit so they match the straw color in here, or vice versa. Maybe I should color the straw so it's a little more vibrant in color. I'm trying to think how I see it in real life. I almost think it should have a little bit more yellow to it. Alright, let me turn this off. Going uphill. I think that'll help. Who was the idiot that... Oh, now I'm going too fast. You know what? I need to get good old GPS going again. Let me see if this does the trick. Nope, not quite. Let me turn it just a little bit. There we go. Maybe that'll do. It goes deceivingly fast when you're headed downhill. Gravity works every time it's tried. Cheap energy. Yep, I think I hit that about right. So I think our course is set, and hopefully we'll tackle these hills in decent time. I have to say, I've done now several episodes in a row here on Gelvin Valley. Just a beautiful map, and I'm so enamored with this mod. I keep wanting coming back just to use it. Speaking of modding, I still don't know if I like all those rocks sitting over there. It is really tough to make something look natural and normal. And I almost think I was better off just leaving it a sheer drop off over there where it dropped down onto the background texture. But oh well. It is what it is. I wonder if I should take care of this top part first. Maybe hang them right up here. try to take care of it. Back in the days when I was on the farm, the bales that we made were just the little handheld ones. I don't think we ever made any big bales. Some of the commercial contractors, if you will, they did big bales. Not us. Not on Lone Oak. I think they do now. What a great mod. Yeah, I gotta keep adjusting on and off of the baler. Just, oh, shoot, there I missed. I gotta get gap. At some point, I wonder if I'm even on. Oh, yeah, I'm on. Alright. Carry on. Man, it's pulling the hill hard. I suppose that's exactly what it would do in real life, so I can't complain too much. Oh. Except when gravity starts working and just grabs hold and hauls you downhill. Oh, look at that. I am trying to back it up, and it just ain't letting me. It is not going to do it. Swing down and around. It's almost like it has more realistic features installed in it. Of course, maybe the in-game one wouldn't do it either. I know we've kind of talked about that before. More realistic. I think it was a mod that came to be back in Farm Sim 11, and I think it was developed then. I'd have to go look and see if I could find it somewhere. Oh, brother, I do this right in the middle of trees. Hop in cab. Everything nice and pristine in here. Clean for the operator. Yeah, there definitely is a point on this one where it powers out. Such a beautiful map, too. Maybe it looks so good because the Fent, the green, just matches in really well with the colors of the map. But anyway, I know the past couple episodes I've been speaking about things I've only done once in life. As I make my way through my little list, I'm really curious when this comes out if anybody comments on something they've only done and probably only ever will do once in their life. Maybe you're a type of creature that I am. Once is enough on some things. And there are other things. Once is never enough. Like playing Farm Sim. So the next item on my list, actually, I'm leaving too much dead air here as I enjoy this mod. I know I visited about it in here. It's probably been a year or two ago, whenever it was, about our family taking a special trip down through. We were going to see our daughter who lives in Kansas, and I wanted to take my sons in particular, those are the ones that left at home, to see some special places in the U.S., that we don't just get to every day, and, namely Hoover Dam and Grand Canyon and some of those kinds of things. And those, they're down in, that's the Nevada border, and in Arizona. That isn't exactly on the way, of course, to Kansas. I mean, it kind of is, but you've got to loop south, to get there. But I figured, while we were in Arizona, that happened to be where Atomic 67 and his wife were living at the time. And so I figured while we were there, we would stop and meet this awesome YouTuber, that I'd interacted with so much. We sent, I don't know how many texts back and forth, and I since have learned I am not the only one who developed a relationship with him, and had a boatload of fun. This man has friends basically all over the world. Is just a special person to so many of us. So this is one, many of the things that I've shared, on things I've only done once and only ever will do once. This one is kind of forced. I left his home after meeting him. I think I was with he and his wife for, maybe it was 4 hours that we spent with them one particular evening. I don't recall exactly how much it was. The time zoomed by, of course. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows how that goes. But I fully intended that there were going to be future trips that we would come and see him and his wife, and he also made overtures of wanting to come and see the area where I live, and to come maybe get a peek at Lone Oak Farms. There was a farming sim app made there, and since it's family to me up there, and I work there, give him a tour or whatever. But just so many things that I would have loved to do and just can't. His wife no longer lives in Arizona, so and he's of course passed away. So those things happen in life, and it just is what it is. But if I think on it too hard, it makes me a little melancholy over things that might have been, could have been. But as we say, that's life. Don't always get what we want, and need to learn to be thankful with whatever time we did have to be with someone or enjoy their company, have a friend, whatever. And maybe to pay it forward. I know there's a number of us that knew Atomic 67, and we still interact with one another. There's a number of friends I have through that I haven't met, but through Discord or whatever, that are specifically because of Atomic 67. And so I owe that to him, really. These are quality people I never would have otherwise had opportunity to meet. For example, one of my good friends is Russell down in New Zealand, and he's one that comments on all my videos, gives me so much encouragement, and it's just I would have never known him or had an opportunity to if it wouldn't have been for Atomic 67. So having a trip, this was in the fall of 22, probably roughly about this time of year. It's early November as I'm recording this, maybe just a little bit further. It was closer to the American holiday of Thanksgiving, which tends to be towards the end of November, that we went down there. The only reason I know that is, we were headed to Kansas to be with my daughter over the Thanksgiving holiday. So just before Thanksgiving, a few days before, whatever it was, maybe even a week before, I don't recall. Yeah, it was a week before. Um, we went to see Atomic 67. Only once, we returned to Arizona a time or two afterwards, and we're in the area. We were able to see, his wife, who still lived there at the time. She's no longer there now. But with him there, only once, and I'm so glad, whatever prompted that particular trip, that we went ahead and did it. And at the time, I almost think he offered to meet us halfway. We were kind of on the, I don't know that the Grand Canyon's exactly on the north side of Arizona, but it's north of where he lived. And it's like, nah, don't worry about it. We'll come down and see you. And it was, I don't know, a 4-hour detour. But when you're driving across country, a few more hours on the road, it doesn't make any difference. They flew by anyhow, just like it is when you're excited to go meet a friend for the first time that you've met intellectually, I guess you might say, where you've had lots of conversations, mainly through the avenue of text. We did talk a couple times, then to be able to go see him in real life was a really special event. Probably for me, sometimes you say you have a trip of a lifetime. Well, that was one of them for me. Those opportunities to meet a friend, when they live at a distance, they just don't come by every day. Yeah, maybe another topic to have in these someday is, what's a place you'd like to visit sometime in your lifetime. And I could say one of those places is New Zealand. I know someone down there. Don't know if we'll ever get there, Oh, look at that, my rental. I'm down to an hour. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. I may have to extend it. Probably going to have to extend it. Oh, well. I seem to think it was 4 hours the first time when I did this. And I said ever since I got that big field, I should have just added another hour. That would have made good sense. So I think I'm going to end up paying a little extra to get it a little bit longer, but that's all right. Look at this mod. I'm just going nuts over this mod. I still remember the video Atomic 67 had on it, speaking of him, back in the day, and I think I went out and downloaded it. Maybe at the time we were getting ready to switch over to Farm Sim 17. I don't recall exactly. I just don't remember doing much with it, and yeah, I guess I'm kind of making up for lost time now. What can I say? I'm a late bloomer. Whoop. Yeah, we've got all these weed patches up here too that no matter how many times I run the plow through them, they persist. They survive all. There ain't no plow or cultivator strong enough to take them out. And in the comments below, I'd be curious to know how many of you, I know of at least two people, who were able to meet Atomic 67 in real life. I won't say their names, but they also were, I think there's video footage of both of them. And when I was with Atomic 67, he never said anything about trying to make a video record of it. It just never came up. Probably because we were just too busy talking. A lot of it was just listening to him talk. Just an amazing person. And all I will say, I think I said this before, is the person you saw or heard in his YouTube videos is exactly the person he is he was in Face to Face. Same old Atomic 67. So when you see his videos, when you hear his stories, he is giving you a part of himself. That's probably the best way to put it. There was no facade or pretending to be something that he wasn't or didn't feel. This is a good-looking tractor on a good-looking map. Oh, it disappeared. I can't see it in the weeds. Oh, there it is. Alright, one more windrow here and we are done with this field. I think I took care of the little spots up top. And so far, what does this say? Is that 344 bales? 345. Yeah, that must be the counter on the right. Not sure what the counter is on the left. Here it goes. Alright, we'll burp out the remaining one. Fold it up and let's scrape. Oh, I think the opening's over here. So, yeah, if you've met him face to face or had interaction with him, I'd love to know more of who his friends are. Because basically, friends of Atomic 67 are friends of mine, as far as I'm concerned. There goes the whirly gigs. We'll head up the road to the next field. So we go through the sheep pasture that has no sheep in it. And you know, I know a couple episodes ago I was bellyaching about the prices and everything. I gotta figure that out so I can get some revenue in here. The main thing I can do to help myself is not doubling up the crops. Or, excuse me, not doing them back to back. Yeah, I know I only got 59 minutes. Alright, we'll head over here and get this one baled. Continue chunking along. And not only on Atomic 67, by the way, if there's any other friend you've had that you've only seen once in your life, I'd be curious about that too. And maybe sometimes it isn't even a single time that you see someone, but a single time period, you know, in your life. Oops, I must have pressed the wrong key. There we go. You know, for example, I know there's men who have served in the military, women too, that, and I know once you're in the military, the relationships you form in there can be pretty tight. And you don't forget those, especially if you've experienced combat with someone. You know, you practically become a type of brother. It becomes like family. Maybe even stronger than family in many cases. But, I mean, I imagine there's, you know, I know I mentioned in a previous episode, our daughter just had a wedding, and her now husband, had a friend from the service when he was in there, and I'm trying to remember if they had seen each other since they were in the service. I'm not sure that they did, but he obviously invited his friend to the wedding, and, you know, he flew out, and just for a short period of time, but there may be many others, you know, where for whatever someone's circumstances are, they're just not able to remain connected, but hopefully they can. You know, when I think of high school, for example, many years ago, I had someone that I called my best friend. Still remember his name, Dirk Close. And I think he confirmed to me, you know, years later, you know, that he thought of me as the same in return, you know, best friends. And it wasn't deliberate, when we exited high school, and it was different in those days, we didn't have email. That came shortly after. I mean, that's kind of how old of a geezer I am. All we had was phones, and I don't even remember where he went to college, if he went to college. I didn't move that far away from home. Even as where I sit right at this very moment is basically 100 yards from my childhood home where I grew up. Get this all set up. And it's close. Try to get a little more. How about that? And I know he is also still in the area, and it's we just haven't remained in touch. And yeah, I can't explain it. It's like after high school, we worked on what real life was going to look like, and kind of just parted ways. And I think he works close, that's his last name. He works in an area close to where I work, and I should look him up again. I know I had lunch with him at some point a few years ago, but I've done a terrible job, reconnecting up with him. And I don't know, maybe that's common. I've heard other stories of people who met in high school, were best friends for life. And like I say, I can't account really for what happened. And I'll take the blame for it. But it's somewhat on him too. And maybe it's different with men than it is with women in terms of, I think women in some ways are better at maintaining some of those friendships, but not always. Yeah, I think I am at the wrong angle of the dangle here for hitting these windrows. Is that kinda, sorta, maybe I need to get there. That looks dead on. Yeah. But it's interesting too, like I say, I touched bases with him only once. I guess I could say that's only once, at least so far. Although I would like to see him again at some point. There were years when we were both working and everything. Only once that we've touched base over a couple decades, I'm kind of ashamed to say. But it's interesting. I remember in school, and I don't know if it's always this way, I think we as human beings have a tendency to gravitate to people that are just like us. And that wasn't the case between him and me. We were different on our politics, different in our upbringing. And what was interesting is years later when we met again, he had changed a ton, at least to me. I'm sure I probably look like I changed a ton to him too, in a lot of ways. We didn't really talk politics, but I could tell there was just a significant change from when he was a teenager. And I don't know if I changed as much as he did on that kind of thing, or who knows. It's just interesting how life hits us, and things that end up happening to us that change the focus of what we become as a person. I mean, I remember I knew one kid in high school. He was kind of one that you would call a headbanger type. Played heavy metal rock music. He was in a band of sorts, and I remember we had a school talent show that they played for, and then years later, I mean, he had the long hair and the whole thing, whole 9 yards, and then years later, for lack of a better term, I'll say he cleaned himself up. I don't mean that to sound bad or that he wasn't clean, but he became a nerd like some of the rest of us, and I think he started working at a computer store. He eventually became an owner of it, and I mean, just a total different trajectory of his life than any of us, would have expected back when we were in school. Yeah, that'd be a whole topic in its own right. But I digress. Let me get to the other end of this. Shoot, I'm almost out of time anyhow. So I'll maybe forego opening another can of worms. Yeah, I think I have this dead on. Down to 45 minutes. I am definitely not going to make the time, so I'm going to have to extend the rental contract. But that's... Whew, I jumped when that went off. Yeah, every time I hear the cowbell thing ring over here, I think again of Atomic 67. He's the one that gave that to me to help me figure out when my video should end and I should quit boring people. Yeah, if I know or have anything at all in YouTube, which is basically nothing. I mean, you don't make a red cent in here, and I know he told me that too. He says if you're expecting to make anything, prepare to be disappointed. But anything I do have here is tribute to him. The good stuff, anyway. Like the intro and the exit to my videos. He created all that for me. And I know he was working on some other stuff just to help me, because that's just how nice of a person he was, constantly helping people. And I may have been one of his last projects before he exited this life. But I definitely know I'm not the only one. I keep running into people, not daily, but periodically, that he helped in some way on YouTube. Just like he had a much farther reach than most of us ever usually attempt to have, at least in terms of helping people. So that was a special trip to me, only once, much as I wish it could have been many, many more times, only one time in my life. So with that, I'll bid you all adieu, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for stopping by to share a little time on this wonderful farm in Gelvin Valley. Bye-bye.